Hello and welcome back. I'm Lemon and I'm making Patch Quest, a roguelike / Metroidvania game where you can mount and ride all of the game's monsters, and while riding a monster you can use 3 of its animal-inspired skills. So this month I've got a really big announcement. The game is coming to Steam on Friday the 7th of May, which is just 5 weeks from now. This release will be an early access, and I'll continue to drop updates for some time to come. In particular, the game currently contains 6 of the 12 planned areas, and so adding these other areas will be the focus of future development. And over the last 2 months, I've been adding the Hive and Zen zones in the northwest corner. Each of these new zones contains a number of dungeons and bosses and sub-habitats to explore, but since this content is a bit spoilery, I'm just going to show these clips, and then I'm going to abruptly cut to something else. Riding monsters is a major part of Patch Quest, and so I'm always looking for ways to make all the different monsters feel more unique. So recently I went back through all of the mounts and I gave each of them 2 passive abilities. These abilities are always active when you're riding that monster, even if you haven't leveled it up yet. Many of these passives give you an elemental resistance, so Styrel's Soak Proof makes you immune to the soaked ailment and to water terrain, whereas Combustile's Burn Proof makes you immune to the burned ailment and lava terrain. Simple, right? But you'll also find passives that boost your stats and your abilities. So Velostrich's Fast Runner gives a big boost to your movement speed, whereas Torrentoise's Sturdy Shell gives a boost to your defense. Bumblebear's Royal Scent will summon allied bees to help you, just like how the Sugary ailment works. And Crowcamel's Insectivore lets you eat small critters to gain stamina.
So tasty!
Finally, some passives are terrain-based, and they help you travel through particular parts of the overworld. So Rolladillo's Hill Climber ability lets you stand still on slopes. And similarly, Galvangla's Strong Swimmer lets you ignore rushing currents. Mucktopus's Muck Dweller lets you move extra fast through sticky mud, instead of slowing down when you're in mud. And Poislug's Snare-Proof ability lets you totally ignore snaring plants. Also, Shinobo is now a banana fiend and powers up every time you find banana ammo. Currently, the game has 45 different passive abilities, and you can see them listed in the records menu below each monster, so I hope you have fun discovering all of their uses. I've also gone back and changed the ailment system. If you've watched my How Not to Make an Indie Game video, you'll know that status effects were a key part of the game's design right from the beginning. Last summer, you could have 3 different ailments that you'd pick up while exploring, and their effects would stack. Some ailments would even have positive effects. However, this system had 2 big problems. It was tricky to remember all 3 different ailment effects, especially when you're in the middle of a battle. And it also took up a huge amount of space on the HUD. So I ended up stripping the 3 ailment slots down to just 1 slot, and this ailment would then be replaced whenever you gained a new one. But this change, honestly, was a mistake, because while it was much simpler, it also stripped all of the variety out of the system and also just made it pretty much irrelevant. So I've now gone with a middle ground, where you have 2 ailment slots, and when you pick up a 3rd ailment, you'll then replace the oldest one. The nice thing about having 2 slots is that they can stack. So you might have 2 different helpful effects, or you might have 2 different harmful afflictions, or you might have some combination. Previously, you could only gain ailments from hazardous terrain or hazardous plants, or from some small critters. But if you just avoided these hazards, then you'd pretty much never pick up ailments, so I decided that monsters should inflict them too. Or, more specifically, the attacks of elite monsters now have a 50% chance to afflict you if they hit. You can tell these afflicting shots apart from regular shots because of their dark red colour, so watch out for those. And the final benefit of having 2 ailment slots is that they match your 2 passive slots, and therefore the HUD can continue being symmetrical. And that's super important because asymmetrical things, they make me cranky. So for the last couple of weeks now, the private beta tester team has been trying out all of this new content to make sure that it's ready for launch. And their feedback contained a common theme. They were getting creamed. The overworld map is a lot larger now, even though it is still missing a bunch of areas. And as you explore, you'll come across shortcuts and doorways that create a network of checkpoints spanning the island. But a lot of these checkpoints are quite spread out, and on the way you'll face some really intense elite battles, marked by these little monster icons on the map. And these tough elite battles are a lot of fun in small doses because they really push you to use all of your skills. But when you're doing a gauntlet of them, pretty much back to back, before you can unlock a checkpoint, that balance can tip from fun to frustration pretty quickly. Fortunately, we've managed to come up with a fix, the big heal. So this big, glowy, squishy heart restores half of all the HP you've lost. If you're on 40 HP, it does nothing, but if you're on 1 HP, you'll go all the way up to half health. So in other words, it's an extremely powerful catch-up mechanic that becomes stronger the more you need it. And one of these big heals will spawn after every elite battle room, which means the elite battles now have a risk-reward thing going for them. They're a big spike in difficulty, but clearing them can also bring you back into the game. So to put it simply, these big heals will help you keep momentum through a run, and they help you recover from a bad start as well. And hopefully they'll help you explore deep into the Hive Zone, the Zen Zone, and beyond. There's a lot of other changes too, but I'll let you discover them yourself when the game launches on the 7th of May. Now, you might be thinking, Lemon, if the beta testing has already been finished, then why is the launch still 5 weeks away? Well, there's a few reasons. First, I need to make some more YouTube videos, including a trailer. And I gotta send the game out to content creators so that we can start getting some marketing going. And I also need to make sure that all of the bugs really have been fixed. And since this is my first time launching a game, I've also worked some spare time into the plan, just in case things go wrong somewhere. So that's why the game is launching on the 7th of May. But in the meantime, you can add Patch Quest to your Steam wishlist so that you'll be notified when it launches. And if you bash that smash button and ring the ding dong, you'll be notified through YouTube as well. There will be a launch day video. I also really want to make some more review-style videos on games like Subnautica and Monster Hunter, so hopefully I'll have a chance to work on those soon. But that's all for now. And as always, thanks for watching.